Welcome to this online tutorial on the online draft. In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at the actual draft and see it in action. In previous tutorials, we've set up the draft and also set our draft preferences. Now let's get started and see the real thing in action. First, let's make sure that everybody is ready for the draft. To do that, click on People in Draft in the left column. And we can see here that under the Ready to Draft column, everyone checks out as yes. If one of these partners is checked out as no, you can notify them directly and make sure they're ready to go. We'll return to the draft overview page, and to access the draft, just click on the Enter Live Draft button. And here we are at the online draft. We can see our draft start date and time up at the top, and then also notice the Start Draft Now button. Remember that it's up to the group administrator to actually start the draft. You can start before, on time, or later than your actual start time. It's up to you. Taking a look at the screen, we have our message board. You and your partners can use this as you like. And people can respond back. On the rest of the screen, we have our available tickets. These tickets are ranked 1 through 80 or so. These are the tickets in this draft. And you can also sort by opponent, by date and time, and by price. We'll set that back to rank. On the right-hand column, you have your draft status, the current picker, and your draft order. There are 40 picks in this draft. Now for this tutorial, I can switch over to another browser here, and this is Kathy. She's a draft partner. So her screen is similar, except she doesn't have the controls to start the draft, and she won't have the other controls that only the group administrator has. So in this case, Kathy can respond. Now, there are two other partners here, Joe Smith and Bill Johnson. For this demo, those two partners are going to use auto draft, so they don't have to attend the draft. If we're ready to begin, the group administrator clicks Start Draft Now. So that'll start the draft for everybody in the group. And we'll see the system message here saying that the draft has been started. Now, the group administrator has the ability to pause the draft, and we'll see how that works a little later. It's been 17 seconds that Kathy here has been on the clock to make her selection. Now our system doesn't pick 4 people. We only show how long it's taken for somebody to make a pick. The group administrator does have the ability to pick 4 people, but the system won't pick for you if you have not selected auto draft. So if we switch over to Kathy's browser, so now we're logged in as Kathy, we can see here that it says it's your turn. Select 2 tickets. So we'll go ahead and do that. So Kathy can choose her top ranked games or sort by opponent or date and time. And we'll click Select and Select. Now, if at your turn you had more than 2 tickets, say 4 tickets, you'd be able to select 4 tickets. If you have less than 2, if you had 1, you'd only be able to select 1. So you only can select tickets when you've entered or when you've selected the correct number of tickets. So we'll go ahead and say select these tickets. It'll ask us to confirm, and yes, we're sure about this. So here we go. The first pick has been made, and a couple things happened as well. So not only did Kathy make her first selection, but Joe and Bill here are on auto draft. So those 2 selections were made for them as well. If we switch back to the group administrator screen, we can see that the changes are reflected here as well. So now it says that it's my turn. One thing I want to point out here, now if I select tickets to two different games, so for example, I selected this May 27th game, and then I selected this April 9th game, and then I click select, it's going to warn me, hey, you're about to select tickets to different games, are you sure? So if I don't want to do that, I'll say no and go back. But the system does allow it if people want to select tickets to different games. It just depends on your group. So I'll select these two games, which are my top ranked games, and I'll say select and confirm these selections. And after a couple seconds, we can see my picks have been recorded. Since this draft order was set using a snake draft, I picked last in the first round, so that means I picked first in the second round. So we'll go here, and maybe I want to sort by date and time and select a game at the end of the season. So I'll go ahead and take these two, confirm that selection, and my pick was made, and then two more auto picks were done for Bill and for the other Joe, and now it's Kathy's turn again. So we can switch back over to Kathy, and you can see here that it's Kathy's turn. So the draft can continue like this until all the picks are made, or until all the tickets are gone, whichever comes first. The group administrator has a few special abilities though. Let's take a look. We can click on Pause Draft, and that's going to bring up a menu. The administrator can resume the draft. So pause could just be to take a break. Undo last pick is exactly as it sounds. You can undo the last pick that was made. So if somebody makes a mistake, you can go back in there and undo the pick. You can end the draft, of course. If everything is done, you can just click end. And we also have make selection for partner. Since it's Kathy's turn, perhaps Kathy wants the administrator to pick for us, or for whatever reason, the group administrator needs to make a pick for this partner. So we'll click on make selection for partner. And what we have is Kathy's ranked games. So the group administrator can come in here, take a look and see what Kathy has selected already, and then pick again for her. So we can see here that her second ranked game was this game on June 10th. So we'll select these two tickets for Kathy. And that was done. So we can either just return to the live draft, or we can resume the draft right from here. And we also can make the next selection for that partner. Let's just return to the live draft. So here we can see that the draft was paused, and then the following pick was made by the group administrator, and Kathy selected this pick with number 8. So here on Kathy's screen, it also is shown that the pick was made for her in this case. All partners see what happens in the draft board, but nobody can do anything while the draft has been paused. So since it is a snaking draft, the next pick is Kathy's as well. So if we return to the administrator screen and we say resume draft, we'll click back over to Kathy's draft, and here it goes. The system says that the draft has been restarted, and now we're on to pick number 9, and it's Kathy's pick again. So we'll go ahead and make her selection, and that should do a couple auto picks as well. And you can see that the draft progresses nicely. I will also point out that you can sort your tickets that have been selected already either by seeing the complete draft or by only my tickets. So here we can see all the games that I've selected. So I went ahead and sped things along a little bit, and now we're on pick number 37. I want to point out a couple things. First of all, the draft order is shown below. So all the picks that have been made show up crossed out in the right-hand column. So we can see here that we've gone through 36 picks and we have a few more available. Another thing I want to point out before completing the draft is that some partners may not see the names of other partners. And the reason for this is that we have a view other partners settings. In case you don't want other partners to see the names of the other partners, that setting can be found under the Partners tab. If you want people to see everyone else's names, just enable that setting under Partners, All Partners. So let's finish this draft off. So right now it's my turn. I will take this game. And again, this will fire off a couple auto draft picks for Bill and Joe. And I'll switch back over to Kathy. And it shows that it's Kathy's turn. So we'll make her last selection. And there we go. So the draft is now completed. Everyone's notified that the draft has been completed. The results are available in your calendar and also in the Ticket Navigator. And lastly, I want to point out that if you click on the Draft tab, you'll notice that this draft has been completed. We can click on that draft. For historical data, you can go back and see your draft order and also your rankings. But also, the draft chat log is saved. So here we can see the whole interaction between partners in the chat board, as well as all the picks that were made, either by an individual partner or by AutoPick. We hope you enjoy using the online draft, and thank you very much for watching this tutorial.